Thank you very much, Vusi, and thank you, Madam Chair, Sabantu, and everyone else. I think that's very, very important for us to be having these online indabas and to keep talking. I was asked to give my review of 2020, and it's in some ways a year that I think most people would like to forget. I think from the point of view of VUCA Marine, which has a bulk shipping operator with which I'm involved, we saw the good and bad during the year, but we were hoping to see a great deal more at the start of the year, and these are things that we're going to have to attend to in the future. During the year, we started the year with 3 ships that we were operating. We retired one because of technical matter, and are in the process of replacing that ship. That had an effect on our ability to place seafarers on board, but not, fortunately, the way that the pool of seafarers that we have was structured, is the impact wasn't too bad at all. So the Cape Orchid was retired early in 2020, and the Cape Enterprise and the Windsor carried on, and during 2021 we plan to replace the Orchid and hopefully make other interesting fleet growth decisions as well. As Mr. Pike said, the flavor of the year was definitely COVID, and this affected us mostly not so much on the profitability from operations, but on the crew side, not just in terms of rotating crew, but just a general awareness that we were forced to take on seafarer well-being on board our ships. We encountered things I would have never envisaged happening. I mean, we had a ship that was desperately looking for a port to do a crew change, and whenever we arrived at a port, they would have immediately beforehand closed the door on seafarers or closed the door on South Africans. We chartered planes to try and get guys out, only for those chartered planes to be cancelled because one out of the entire crew complement tested positive. It's actually been an incredibly unforgiving year for seafarers, and for those that have come through it, I must say, I think from a VUCA Marine perspective, I think the heroes of the year have been those who served on board the vessels and were incredibly patient and understanding, and in what must have been an incredibly difficult situation where we simply could not disembark them. I would like to take my hat off to SAMSA for the work that they did, making it possible for us to put a crew change capability in place in Algoa, which worked very well, and which I think we'll just keep on using. It allowed us to rotate crew and cadets, and to keep a full complement of cadets on our ships pretty much all of the time. And I think that's been important because we use that cadet pool as a feeder pool into our officer development ranks. So some of our successes have been how some of those youngsters who've come up through the cadet program, I know it wasn't always popular that we didn't follow the accelerated program that the National Cadetship Program advocates. We expected another 2 familiarization voyages before a candidate could be advanced to officership. But now we're seeing the benefit of that, and those guys are now all qualified according to best international standards. So we're very excited. We think the seafarers took the brunt of COVID, but our major successes are also amongst our seafarer base. I think we were hoping that during 2020 a great deal would happen on the industry development side. We remain quite skeptical as to some of the changes that are being proposed. We think that the national shipping line, that as is proposed, will still cause it stands to cause a great deal more damage than good. But having said that, it is still ill-defined. We think a number of the changes that are being advanced might make our seafarers uncompetitive, which would be unfortunate. We were hoping during the year that we'd see a great deal more growth on the development of sourcing and training ratings, similar to what's in place under SAIMI for the cadetship program. That wasn't possible, largely because of COVID. But we hope that that's going to start coming back through in 2021 and 2022. But what I think is most exciting about what SAMSA has proposed here, and what we would like to kind of attach our limited level of support to, is this whole revisioning of maritime in South Africa. We think basically since the year 2000, actually, the South African international shipping industry has been drifting, visionless, largely, waiting for a path. It's very difficult to see how the South African flag can be a competitive flag without a great deal of a kind of joint work between government and industry. We believe that it can be. We think it will be. We've demonstrated in the model that has been put in place, that Sabunti referred to, that we can be globally competitive. But now, having done that, you also have to differentiate yourself. You can't just be competitive. You're swimming in a very small pool if that's your approach. And so we will look forward to working with SAMSA and government and anyone else in this industry to expand the impact of the flag on the national interest, and to turn it into a flag that embraces the best of ethical and universal values, because those are now becoming far more important in international shipping under MARPOL and the whole principle of clean oceans. We think under seafarer welfare, and what the soft underbelly of seafarer welfare in some flags that has been shown by COVID, and in alignment of the value chain, as freight owners are looking for ways to be exposed to a less cyclical and more finely priced and more influential value chain, where they can work far more closely with their carriers. So we think the period to 2030 is going to be a very, very exciting one. It's going to offer a lot of opportunities. It would be desperately disappointing if we used to get to 2030 and look back and talk about what might have been rather than what was. But certainly Vuka Marine and Via Maritime, who I represent, we spend a great deal of time and effort evaluating these opportunities, ways to differentiate ourselves and ways to remain competitive. And we hope that that model will be replicated by far more operators coming into this space during the next 2 to 3 years. But thank you very much, SAMSA, for having this. I look forward to the endeavors that you hold in future as well. I think we have to keep talking.